This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.
Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well because I'm doing phenomenally. Thank you very much. This is the 72nd episode of the MFer podcast, and I'm coming to you live, baby, from Austin, Texas. Ready to go, ready to rock this show. And it has been a while since I've been on. It has been a crazy month. I celebrated my birthday month. I'm like a 24-year-old girl. But it's kind of been like that. Not intentionally, certainly not by design. I wasn't setting myself up to be celebrating my birthday for a month straight, but it sort of worked out like that. I talked about it last time, but I had my Mama Dukes came out to visit me, and I hung out with her for a week, and that was a great time, but it's, when family members in town, it's kind of, that's what you're doing, hanging out with family. And then Michael was surprised visit on me. He came, he visited like the next week. So he was here for a weekend. And then I just came back from Hawaii yesterday. I was in Hawaii for a week. So it has been a roller coaster. It's been a lot. And a lot's happened while I've been away. Lots of big old news and politics and all types of crap that has been happening. And wow. Kind of wish I was here to talk about some of that stuff, but we're going to talk about it today. The biggest thing is the brink of global war. The brink of global war. And there has been an extraordinarily interesting development in that, which we will get to. But I just kind of wanted to get out some of my thoughts on this whole thing because it has been an intense couple weeks. And let's say I've dabbled with libertarian politics. I've listened to some kind of libertarian economists and libertarian voices, and I tend to find a lot of what they say very compelling. I think a lot of it is a tad, let's say, optimistic, if I'm being generous. There's certain things where we're just like, okay, well, we're not gonna do that. Like, I like that that's your true North Star, and I think that's great, and we should strive to get closer to that. But I don't believe we're ever going to abolish income tax. I would love it. I think that would be fantastic, but I don't see us ever getting there. I think it's a good guiding principle. I think stuff like that is good because it keeps you honest a little bit. It's kind of like we'll probably never have an unregulated free market economy. I think we should. I think it'd be the most optimized economy and probably help lower costs on all fronts, including things like healthcare and housing and stuff like that, that we do need as a country to bring the prices down because they're unreasonably unaffordable if you want to live anywhere desirable in this country. And, healthcare, I'm not saying it should be free. I don't think it's a human right. I'm not some lunatic leftist, but I do think it should be obtainable. I do think, for a few $100s a month, you should be able to cover your basic needs. I don't really think that that's all that much to ask for. And I think for the majority of, this country's existence in the 20th century and beyond, that was something you could do. And I don't feel like that's the case anymore. I've looked into personal health insurance costs and I'm like, oh my God. I've heard of options like Crowd Health and such and so on, which sound kind of cool. And I've been meaning to look into that further, but I'm glad that there's alternatives. I think that that's good, but I think everyone agrees it's too much. Now, people have different reasons as to why. Is it the illegal immigration? Yes, that has a lot to do with it. Hello, Zax. Good to see you, sir. What's cracking, baby? Yo. That's got a lot to do with it. I think competing with the government is impossible, so that's going to skyrocket costs. And there's lots of factors. And I think when it comes to stuff like that, the libertarians are generally closer to the truth than anybody. But I do understand that, some of their domestic policies, I think, are completely unrealistic. I don't think we should have unrestricted drug trade. As someone who used to do a lot of cocaine, one of the things that was able for me to get away from doing a lot of cocaine was that it was hard to get. There was a hurdle. I had to make a bunch of connections to go do it. And if I could just go to a store every day, I might be dead. I don't know. I almost said I might be gay because Nads goes, it's all gay. It just said, I was reading that and almost said, I might be gay. But I'm not, and I didn't say that, but I thought that was funny. So I don't really agree with them on those types of things. Where I have found them, especially very educated ones, like let's say Scott Horton or Dave Smith, has been their foreign policy. Hello, Sherry. Good to see you. Nice cleavage. Nice cans there, Sherry. But I've been listening to a lot of what they've had to say. And if you listen to someone like Scott Horton, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to disagree with that man. He's spectacularly educated. He knows all the players. He knows the other country's perspective. Like I went and saw him do a live podcast with Robbie Bernstein. And he, we were talking about the Iran nuclear thing. And this was about a month ago or 3 weeks ago, something like that. And he described how nuclear bombs work and he made it very understandable. And he was like, here's the two different types and here's how you deliver them. Iran can't deliver either, even if they had the bomb. So this whole thing's a farce, blah, blah, blah. And he was fascinating. And actually that podcast is up on, I think it's Robbie the Fire, his YouTube channel, if you want to listen to it. And it's still my, I'm not part of that community, Nads. How dare you? How dare you offend me? But it was fascinating. The guy's smart. And I've really begun to align with the libertarians' foreign policy perspective on the world. And I thought so did Trump. I thought so did MAGA. I thought that's what America first meant. I was under the impression that meant our interests first. That was what I voted for. That's how I interpreted that campaign. That's what I remember Donald Trump saying, that our entanglement in Middle Eastern wars has been a huge problem for this country. And I don't know who would disagree with that. I don't know how you could sit here and disagree with that assessment of the situation. We accomplished nothing in Iraq except get a bunch of Arabs and our own people killed and our own people traumatized and spent trillions of dollars. And it doesn't seem any better. It doesn't seem like that was a huge win for America. You could say the same thing with Afghanistan. And then there's all the other secret wars that like Obama was waging with Yemen and Syria and Lebanon. And, I don't think all those were like, woohoo, perfect, brilliant execution, everybody. Way to go. So when I look at those situations, I'm against that. I don't want us meddling there. I don't really think we have to meddle there. I don't think it's our duty to meddle there. And I don't really care why. If there's some direct threat, okay, we'll talk about that. But if our allies are in some kind of trouble because of their own actions, well, I got to be honest, that doesn't sound like that's my problem. Sounds like a whole lot of your problem. And I, at least for some time, guys, was hoping we would be a non-interventionist nation. That's what I was hoping for. I thought that's what Trump ran on. I thought that's what fucking MAGA meant. Or at least America first. And recently, if you guys may have missed this, I don't know if you noticed this. All of the sudden, there was a very imminent nuclear threat by Iran. And did you know they chant death to America? Did you know that? They say that. Yes, they do. And what do you want? A country that says death to America? You want them to have nuclear bombs? Well, we just can't stand for that suddenly. Very suddenly, right now. And I've heard, Trump's been consistent on this. He's said, Iran can never have a nuclear bomb. I still don't quite understand why, because my understanding is that Israel does have a nuclear bomb and they're not even part of the non-proliferation treaty. So they kind of have more freedom with the bomb than anybody. For some reason, Iran can't. Okay. I mean, I'm certainly not pro-nuclearization. I'm not encouraging it. But as, I've heard some smart people point out, our enemies have had nuclear bombs in the past and currently do. North Korea has nuclear bombs and the capability to deliver them to the West quite handily. He has the missiles. We didn't bomb them. We didn't start a war with them over that. China has nuclear bombs. Russia. I mean, I recall the arms race. I don't know if anyone remembered that from the 20th century, but there was this whole thing, stockpiling munitions. It was a big deal in the 20th century. It's this whole thing called the Cold War. And obviously, the country didn't have the appetite to go to war with Russia. Some feel we should have. Some people feel like we should have stopped. Shouldn't have stopped World War II and marched all the way to Moscow. I don't agree with that either, but that's what some people have said, and I understand the reasoning. Hello, Jeremiah. Breaking news. Russia's former president says allies may give Iran nukes. Trump and Israel concede if Iran stops attacking. Mission unaccomplished. Well, we'll get into that in a moment, Jeremiah. Thank you for that. But so that all precipitates this very contentious discussion that has been going on, where in the middle of peace talks, Israel attacks Iran out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. Maybe the United States had insight on it. Maybe they're just running cover for Israel. Not really clear exactly what happened, but that is what happened. And then immediately Iran retaliates, and the country that's been bombing children in hospitals for the better part of 2 years and well beyond that is like, can you believe they're attacking civilian targets and targeting children? Like, I don't really feel you're in the position to lecture anyone about that. I feel like maybe you should keep that talking point under your hat. That's just my opinion. And while war is horrible, you fired first. What'd you expect? Hello, Kay. Good to see you. I'm doing great. Actually, I'm doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Thank you. So now what? Well, it starts off with Israel doesn't need the United States of America. You guys are panicking. You're freaking out. Israel's not going to drag you into this war. Israel doesn't even need your help in this war. Why you guys think we're this weak country? We've been at war our entire existence. We got it. Well, 24 hours later, they didn't get it. And we needed the United States, and Israel immediately calls for their help. And this now, it's not even that. It's like, you support Iran having nukes? They'd say death to America and you want to give them nukes? I thought you were America first. I thought you were America first. Why don't you support our allies in their war? It's not about regime change. It's just about getting rid of their nuclear program. That's all it's about. What are you freaking out about for? You sissy? You see who you agree with? You agree with AOC and you agree with Elizabeth Warren. And I did find myself agreeing with them. And let me tell you, not the most comfortable feeling in the world. Didn't love scrolling Twitter and agreeing with Bernie fucking Sanders, but that's where I found myself. And Elizabeth Warren. That would have hurt even more. Goddamn Pocahontas. But I agreed with their point. I was like, yeah, I don't know if calling for his impeachment is relevant because, now we care whether Congress can bomb people? You sure as shit didn't give a shit when Obama was doing it for 8 years. You didn't care about that, did you? Didn't care about all the new wars he was starting. He ran on ending wars and started 2, maybe 3 new ones. So bullshit. And we'd have to retroactively now like prosecute every president since Johnson? Come on. You don't care about that. You hate Trump and you know it. But regardless, I found myself in that situation. Yes, mid-rant. Hello, listless. I found myself agreeing with them and being called some kind of sissy leftist whatever for not supporting ending their nuclear program. And then in the same breath, they're like, it's not a regime change war. It's not that. Okay. We're just knocking out their nuclear sites that they don't even have because they're not developing a nuclear bomb. Damn right, Sentient Dildo. Hello, buddy. I am still making a difference. You better believe it. I can't. I just can't keep this shit to myself. I have to say it. I can't. I just can't. I've been reading this for days. Lose my mind. It's not about regime change. Don't freak out. Then it's immediately about regime change, and that's a good thing. So we went from Israel doesn't want America's help to we do to it's not about regime change to it is in like 3 or 4 days of internet propaganda. Like it was unbelievable how quickly that all turned around. And I'll be honest, man, I lost the faith. I authentically lost my faith in Trump after that. I saw that and I was like, this is the opposite of what you said was going to happen. You criticized the past administrations for all these disastrous Middle Eastern wars and how expensive they've been and how many American lives that they've destroyed. This is what you said we were not going to do. And then you go and do it at the behest of Israel. I'm pretty sure. I can't see any other interpretation as that, but that's what it looks like to me. Prove me wrong. There's some direct threat to the United States of America. Bullshit. What up, Copa? What's going on, baby? Good to see you too, you handsome devil. Thank you, buddy. I need a girlfriend. Yeah, that's true. That doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make me wrong, dildo. I know, but I was talking to my mom about this very thing. And the thing is, like, I believed he was different. I truly did. There's all these other hacks. You know, they have all these constituents. They have all these campaign promises to honor. Like, they have all these, it's all tied up in like giant, like conglomerized monstrosities of political parties and favor. He's not that guy. He, came out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to be president. I don't care who you, what you say. I'm going to do it. And like, you guys are gay. You guys are stupid. Let's go run. Let's go make America great again. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so this happened. And I was just like, I was disillusioned, completely disillusioned. Like I was reading AOC's tweets about that guy who was like leading the protests at Columbia. And I'm like, found myself actually concerned with like, let me get into the details of this, not just outright dismiss her. That's how bad it got, folks. Okay. I was listening to AOC. All right. This is the depth of my depression or just my disillusionment with the whole thing. And then this happens today. And then I wonder, maybe I overreacted. I'm not sure, but this is something that Trump just tweeted. And I'm going to read it. And before I read it, Listless says, Matt, you don't know disillusionment yet. Trust me on this. No, I do, because I've been disillusioned before. I was disillusioned with Bush when I was in high school, after, during high school, I guess. Maybe slightly after high school. I was disillusioned with Obama during college, and I kind of been disillusioned with politics altogether for a very long time. I thought this was different. Matty boy, just unplugged from this retardation. I can't and I shan't. I can't, such a dildo. I can't. I find it too interesting and too compelling. You're probably right that I need to consume less of it, but I can't unplug. I just find this fascinating. I talk about it, and I like learning about it, and I like discussing it. So Trump tweets this today. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. Hope and change, such a dildo. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years, destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, and God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Mega, indeed, mega. Make Iran great again. So this just came out. And listen, I want this to be true. If this is true, I am happy to have been wrong about worrying, about doubting the president, about my faith being questioned. I am happy to be wrong about this, because today I'm reading, Iran is now going to arm the Houthi rebels. The Houthi rebels in Yemen are now going to fight back against us again, even though we made peace with them. Now we're going to go back into some kind of fight with them. They're going to shut down that strait. I forget the name of the strait, but it's like a huge shipping lane. The parliament of Iran voted on that because they got attacked. And so now, guess we are looking right into like retaliations and a long drawn out conflict, like most people, rational people, reasonable people predicted would happen. And that's not, and I think that's completely rational conclusion. And so I'm like, great. But then this comes out, and I'm happy to be wrong. I want to reiterate that I'm not one of these people who would like to see destruction so that I can feel validated or vindicated. I'm happy to be wrong. Happy. Listless. The Strait of Hormuz, that's it, will never be shut down. NATO would never let it. But what would stop that? Like, what would stop it being shut down? Military action. So that's continuing the war. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to be involved. I don't think we didn't have to do this. We didn't have to continue this going. But we did. And it's happening. Or it happened. And it looked really bad. It was very upsetting and completely contrary to everything that I thought MAGA and America First and Trump was all about. Basically, it was like Netanyahu and the neocons' wet dream come true. Yay. Woo. We can, naval warfare, but warfare, drones, right? I'm not saying necessarily American or NATO lives would be at risk, but we are still killing people, starting a war we don't have to start. And then it costs money. And then there's going to be retaliations from those retaliations. And it goes on and on and on, like it always does, like it has done. Like the lesson we should have taken from the entire 21st century conflicts in the Middle East. But I know. Sorry, Century Dodo. I didn't mean to. And then here comes Ruben. And so this is what's been going on right now. This is all over Twitter. The, neocons, pro-Israel. We all know Ruben's extraordinarily pro-Israel. He's not a MAGA guy. He's a MAGA guy, and the MAGA is Israel. And he's been saying this, and this is what everyone's talking about. This is the victory lap they're all taking. See you panicins, Trump is the man. Okay, well, we'll fucking see. I want it to be over, but I have this very distinct image of President Bush standing on an aircraft carrier with a big old mission accomplished banner. And hey, the Iraq war, boom, lights out. Quick little operation, shock and all. Boom, boom, boom. We fucked them up and it's over. And then it went on for another 20 years. So I'm not 100% like convinced that this is going to work. I hope so. I really, really hope so. I want this to be over, and I want my concerns of getting dragged into another Middle Eastern conflict to have been wrong. That's a good thing. I want to be wrong. Just like when Biden got elected, and I thought it was a terrible thing. Hope I'm wrong. Because it's better for the country if I'm wrong about these things. It's better that if I'm wrong that the war ends quickly. Good. Great. But my concern is that it wasn't, and it didn't. Now, I don't know. Look, the difference is, and hello, Ruben, good to see you. The difference is when the mission accomplished banner, there was no Iraqi government agreeing to the other side of that. This one, Iran's government is agreeing, right? I mean, according to this, they've agreed to a peace. So that's very, very different. And I hope it is, man. I really hope it is. And I'm happy to be wrong. Happy. Thrilled. So it was so funny. Like, as I was starting to set up this podcast today, I was going to talk about this whole conflict, the whole war. And then I see that, like, right as I'm about to go live. And I was like, whoa, what? All right. Changing tactics, changing perception, changing the conversation. But that's where we're at right now. I don't know if there's been any development since. I don't know what Jeremiah was saying earlier. What did he say? He says, this is breaking news. Now, this is just from this. I don't know. Russia's former president says allies may give Iran nukes. Trump and Israel concede if Iran stops attacking, mission unaccomplished. So I don't know the source of that or the validity of that or what's going to happen next, but I don't know. I don't know. What were you saying, Sentient Dildo? Where you said it's 100% the WMDs again? I mean, it's 100% it'll be the WMD BS all over again. That's what it was. Iran has nuke. Let's just clear it up. They don't. You know, there's been a really good meme going around with Netanyahu where he's been talking about, Iran's like a year away from a nuclear bomb. He's been saying that since they have evidence since the 90s. Some people have said the 80s. He's been saying this for 30 years. You know what I mean? So they're not. What they have been doing was refining uranium beyond the limits of the deal that they, by the way, have no longer any obligation to honor. They've been doing that, which is the first step in a very multi-headed step of getting nuclear weapons. But that's it. There's been dubbed a latent deterrent. But they don't have anything near a nuclear bomb. And I really feel like even if they put, as it sounds, if they put all their energy into making one, it would still take like at least a year. And the type of thing that might promote that is bombing them unprovoked. That might affect them. But anyway, how are you guys? You guys having a good week? You having a fucking panic attack every day? I have been. Hello, love it ever after. Good to see you. My theory is they bomb their oil sites to ruin their economy. I saw the pictures of the nuclear sites, and I couldn't even tell the difference. I wasn't sure why, if that's why they were sharing it. Was that the point? I don't really know. I also heard. Let's. I think this was planned for a little while, but I can't think anyone can say what they had. I don't freaking know. I don't either, but people who would know better than me seem to be completely unconvinced, like namely Scott Horton. I recommend don't even listen to me about any of this. Listen to them. Listen to Scott because he's a smart son of a bitch and very knowledgeable about all this. He knows what's going on. But I did watch such a well-informed geopolitical takes is why we're here, Matt. We love hearing what Grok thinks of this. I look at multiple sources. I study lots of different vectors of information before forming my opinion. All right. Oh, here we go. Okay. If you guys were curious what the neocons think, Ruben's here. Iran does not have nukes, but they have the enrichment program. Each time Israel bombs it, set it back, they start over. So it happens periodically. Well, they do need the enrichment for civilian use. There is more use to uranium enrichment than just bombs. There's energy uses, there's medical uses, there's more than just simply bomb usage. And also don't you need to get the plutonium as you have to also refine the plutonium, and that takes a whole other new facility that they don't even have. So you can't even use the plutonium to detonate the uranium. But I think it's a little beyond, where they're at right now. And I don't know, but not at 60%. Sure. But they have no obligation to not. And by the way, are you advocating for Israel to join the non-proliferation treaty? Because they have the bombs. Are you okay with that? Odd. They can have it. Iran can't. Very weird. They do not follow civilian nuclear regs. They never do. That's fair. That's fine. And maybe they don't. But shouldn't we be calling for inspections and not bombing them? Doesn't that seem like a far more reasonable solution than potentially dragging us into another never-ending conflict, which they did state was about regime change once they changed their perspective on it at 4 hours later? I don't know, man. It's one of the things. Okay, as Senja Dildo points out, I'm an uninformed idiot. Fair. That's fair. That's fine. But one of the things that I just feel very fortunate the world experts gathered here. You know what? I'm not a Douglas Murray school on thought of that. Speak your mind. I don't know. What do you think? Sometimes you get close to being right. Does that Horton guy have a Russian bride? Not that I'm aware of. He's a smart guy, though. Smart fella. Yes, that's what I mean. There have been called for as many inspections by the IAEA or whatever it's called, and they refuse them all. So fuck you. You can't have a nuke plant. I think that's a bit of an oversimplification, but what was I about to say? Damn it. I was about to go somewhere with this. Fuck. Forgot now. My brain don't work no more. Oh, right. Being an idiot. Okay. So my knowledge of politics is, let's say, limited. I do a lot more research and reading and listening to different perspectives now than I probably ever did. I'd say up until the woke took over absolutely everything, I would say my interest in politics was cursory. I would listen to certain things and check out certain stuff, but I didn't really have an active interest in it. I'd check in on certain people and listen to certain stuff, but I wasn't focused on it, right? Once the woke stuff happened, then I was all confused. And I looked at, I started following Gary, Nerdrotic and stuff, and all these other guys who also noticed the same thing that I noticed. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And, found a group of like-minded people who were on it even more than I was and were talking about it all the time and smart and uncompromising and looking at a critical lens of all this stuff. And I loved it. I was like, fuck yeah, these guys are great. And then that took me to the next step, was just well, what was the motivation for all the woke shit? Where did all that come from? Why was it so ubiquitous? Because I was out in California and I didn't realize how widespread it was. I always tried to hope that I'd find someone who wasn't that cooked, and it was impossible, especially if you're looking for a girl. And I was more, then I became more curious about where did it all originate from? And so, I started looking into that's where I do feel like James Lindsay did some good work with his book called Cynical Theories. And, Jordan Peterson's kind of attack of all that, what's it called? Activist scholarship and all the stuff going on in the colleges, and how all that stuff is why we have what we have today, or at least, had with the woke stuff. That's where all that came from. And so then I just became far more interested in sort of like these political theories and these political concepts and all that. And the ideas, but I'm still not all that spectacularly educated on it. Like I'm like, Carl Benjamin has like a degree in philosophy, and a lot of that's political philosophy. So he can argue like Lockean liberalism, from a very well-educated point of view. And, I listen to a bunch of Daryl Cooper's podcasts, and when he talks about the Israeli and Palestinian conflict, like from the beginning in the 1800s with the Zionism, like he's literally read every single book he can find on the subject before he starts that podcast. So there are people out there that are extraordinarily educated, passionate about it, read everything they can about it, and are, organize their thoughts from like an extraordinarily rich foundation. That's not me. Okay. Where I derive a lot of my political point of view, worldview, what I, respond to is bullshit. When I see a collection of bullshit, I take issue with that. I deduce what you just said logically doesn't add up. Or there's a collection of people on your political side or in your political point of view that's bullshit. I may not even be able to articulate exactly why, but I can sense that. That's bullshit, what you just said. And then, you do more research and you figure out exactly why, but it's more like an instinct. You're like, that's fucking horrid. That's wrong. Like, I know somewhere in my brain that that's wrong. Like, what you just said is wrong. And when you see like the hysterics of like the left, right, and pushing all the bullshit they pushed for the entire Trump administration and beyond before that too, but through the first Trump administration that created this sort of like entertainment wasteland that we live in right now. I wasn't all that well educated on the subject, but I knew they were full of shit. And I could tell, it was just an instinct. It's just like you collect all this data and you look at the real world and you're like, bullshit, no, wrong. And that's like not the best, most principled, most rich foundation worldview. I'll admit that. I'm not pretending it is. It is. But it serves me pretty fucking well. And a lot of times I'm pretty keyed in just by that, just by my instinct to evaluate bullshit. And what I started to notice from the people that I tend to listen to, or the side that I found myself aligned with this MAGA side and this Trump side, I found a lot of bullshit in there, a whole lot of bullshit. Did anyone happen to see the Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson interview? You want to talk about bullshit? There was a lot of bullshit in that interview. Now, I learned a lot. From that interview because, Ted Cruz is one of those guys I knew of, he's a figure in politics. Now, I live in Texas now, so it's a little bit more beholden to me to understand where he's coming from, who he is, what all that is. Horton here's a Jew. Horton's wife is a Russian Jew who was born in the Soviet Union. Dude may be compromised, Maddie. That doesn't mean anything. Dave Smith's Jewish, I just because what side do you think he's advocating for? Russia's? The communists, like anti-America. I don't really listen. Watch one interview, one discussion with him, and you tell me that guy isn't on the fucking ball, isn't on point, isn't a smart fucking guy. I didn't Senshin Dildo. I'm sorry, man. I lost it. Like, it's like something I linked out and closed that window. I would like to see it. The one that you were talking about. It seemed a little commie. No, I'm just kidding. But I wouldn't mind checking it out. If you could relink it, I will watch it. But back to the bullshit thing. All of a sudden, all the people, because it's like, when you're like, okay, trans women are women, Bullshit. Right? No. They should be able to compete in women's sports. No. Bullshit. We should open the border and allow all these immigrants in. No, bullshit. Like, it's pretty easy to like kind of, no, that's bullshit. All of a sudden now with this Iran war, you're like, that's bullshit. Like, what are you talking about? That's not at all. There's no imminent threat to the United States of America. That's bullshit. There's like, okay, there's a bases there. Yeah. I could understand having an issue if you're Iran that there's your enemy's bases are right outside the fucking your borders. Yeah. We would also have a problem with that. This is not an imminent threat against the United States of America at all. So you're trying to push it like I am not American. I'm not America first if I don't want to go to war with Iran over Israel. Bullshit. So I don't know, for whatever that's worth, whatever that means to you, or if you even care, that's just been like my kind of like North Star. And I feel like I'm pretty good at sifting through bullshit. And I saw a whole lot of bullshit from the right wing, from a lot of people who call themselves MAGA. And I really pray, even like for domestic policy's sake, that Trump is right and this is all over and it was just a blip and we freaked out over nothing. That would be that'd be the best case scenario, because there's a huge schism amongst the right wing in this country, the MAGA people, right? And who I think currently are the rational ones who do generally want the best for the nation. I don't know how all that spending helps the country. I understand the arguments on both sides. I don't know. I see the libertarians' point. I think it's a little more principled, but I don't know. When you see that number go up in the debt and you see how much we spend on the interest, I'm like, look, I don't know much about global economics, but I don't think that's good. I've had it explained to me it's not that big of a deal. As long as money moves, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't pretend to. But I do think that the MAGA and the right wing and Trump administration overall have the interests of this country at heart. And I think their supporters do too. And hopefully the other politicians who align with Donald Trump do as well. But this war or potential war created a gigantic schism. I saw it happen dramatically. And because I know how I felt. And I know that I was not alone. And a lot of other people who put all their faith in this guy and this administration and this like awesome, everyone was like, it's corny. I'm like, I think it's cool. The political Avengers with Tulsi and RFK and JD and all these guys. I was like, this is cool, dude. I don't know. Fine. Call me a cornball, call me gay. I don't care. I think it's cool. And I believed in it. I was like, there's enough diverse opinions there. There's enough smart guys. We got veterans, right? JD's a fucking, deployed in the Middle East, as I understand it. Tulsi Gabbard, you know what I mean? All those years in the National Guard, she's in charge of the Intelligence Administration. You got Kash Patel, who's been so critical of the deep state and all this stuff, and Dan Bongino. And you see, like, I'm a trusted plan guy, but I kind of expected some more results. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, like, let's prosecute some of these people. I don't even care if it's like a show trial, prosecute Fauci. I don't care. Can we get some kind of like, correction of the ship, some sort of, like some scalps, please? And we haven't been getting it. And then this happens. And I was like, it's a gigantic split. And what's going to happen when the base isn't like, when we're not like united, guess what? You're getting primaried. And then we just end up with this same melange, the same soup where, we're not going to execute the things that truly can help make this country great again. They're going to get muddied. They're going to get compromised. They're going to get watered down. And all for this stupid fucking war we don't have to fight. So I'm optimistic now, or hopeful. I'm hopeful. I wouldn't say optimistic. Hopeful that this changes. That this actually does happen, that the war thing that Trump said, it's all over. Iran, Israel agree. Israel's going to back down. Hopefully they'll stop massacring the Palestinians. That'd be cool too. But we're only cursorily involved in that by aiding them, tune of billions of dollars. But at least it's not dragging like, the next generation of kids into this fucking endless, grinder that is the Middle East and our regime change conflicts there. Hopefully that'll happen. And then we can get back to like worrying about domestic policy and, reducing. What happened to reducing corruption? What happened to reducing federal bloat? What's Doge up to? Are we auditing the Pentagon? Are we auditing Fort Knox? Are we doing half the shit we said we were going to do? Can we focus on that and not whether Israel wants to knock out another one of its, rivals in the region? Hey, Israel, just stop massacring the Palestinians. Give them a state and maybe some of this shit will stop. Oh, right. I remember what I want to talk about. All right. Let me quickly go through some of your chats, and then I wanted to talk about what I heard. Hello, Brahma. She said weeks ago that they didn't, but apparently saw something that made her reverse course before the action started, before she's on board. You're talking about Tulsi dramatically changing her position about the nukes. That was suspicious and makes me doubt things. It's like when Kash Patel is like, hey, trust me, guys, Epstein did kill himself. You're like, that's fucking weird to hear you say that, brother. I thought the whole point was you were one of these guys who he definitely didn't. And you're not providing any evidence that he did, but you're just telling me to trust you. Well, Tulsi, you've been one of the biggest critics of our involvement in these Middle Eastern wars. You saw it firsthand. Brahma says if she didn't believe it, I think she would have resigned. I would hope that she'd be that principled. But a lot of good people get into office with good intentions and doesn't follow through. I don't know. I would love to believe she's that principled. I always thought she did. She seemed to be one of the most consistent people in this conversation. I always liked Tulsi, going back years. Haven't heard much from her. So I hope you're right. I hope you fucking bomb first neocons are right. I was extraordinarily skeptical. Yeah, OG. Okay. Gonna hear about babies and incubators again. I think we got parsed wrong. You guys are kind of more discussing things in the chat. Okay, so I watched this thing. Now listen, I understand the source I'm about to quote. I get it. Okay, I understand. But it's out there and it's up for you to decide. So I was watching Candace Owens' show. I don't really watch her. I check in every once in a while, but she's a little wacky for me sometimes. Early on, I liked some of the stuff that she says, and then you kind of keep going with her, and I'm like, oh my God, all right, fucking chill. She's a little impulsive for my taste when it comes to the things that she passionately claims are true and runs with. But I also trust that she believes it. I don't think she has any other agenda. I don't believe she's like beholden to any other foreign interests or any other invisible hand. I think when she says it, she believes it. That doesn't mean that I do, but it means I trust that that's how she feels about it. So I saw Ian Carroll has been standing in for her. I'm not an Ian Carroll guy. I saw some of his viral reels and stuff. Like he got into the guts of Doge early on, and I liked some of that, but I don't really put a whole lot of stock in him as a commentator, as a guy. I just know he exists. And for whatever, and I know some of the people that I vehemently disagree with hate him. So I'm like, all right, maybe he's not all bad. But Liz saying that Macron's wife thing was wild, though. It was, but it also was a mess. Like I tried to watch it, and it was kind of all over the place. And she's kind of filling in the gaps, and it wasn't very organized. It's kind of like when she did like her George Floyd documentary, which I watched. She did it all wrong. Like she put all like the most interesting evidence was at the end, and she should have put that in the beginning and then talked about all the other stuff. It's like she kind of like I sometimes I like her instincts, and sometimes like I just feel like in execution she doesn't really nail it. So anyway, She hasn't been doing the show. I don't know if she's back because I don't really keep up on it, but she had a kid and she's on like maternity leave. So Ian Carroll's been standing in. Now, Ian Carroll did a whole episode about this documentary about Netanyahu. Let me see if I can't find it. And he talked about, from a very conspiratorial point of view. It's called the BB Files. Yes, the BB Files. Okay. An inside look at the corruption charges against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu leaked through police interrogation videos. Now, he talked about this whole thing. He talked about this entire documentary. Now, I haven't seen it, to be completely clear. I'm curious, but it isn't streaming anywhere, and it's like a $24 single purchase, and I don't know. I'm curious is about as good as I'll give it. However, doesn't Candace work for herself? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's my point, is I believe when she says something, she believes it. I don't think she has any other agenda. I don't think she has any other, invisible hand behind the scenes working what, she needs to think. Now, I don't think that's true about a lot of people. I think a lot of people are very pro-Israel in a way that makes me suspicious, in the sense that it's like, well, you can't take on any of the criticisms. I think there's some pretty valid ones. You're not taking on any of them, no matter what. The sanctity of Israel is the most important thing to you. I thought you were an American. I thought that was your whole point. I thought you were America first. Why the hell are you so pro-Israel? But that could be like a side thing for you, but it seems to be the primary thing. Why is that? Could it be you take money from them? I don't know. There seems to be a lot of our politicians that do. It wouldn't surprise me that you do as well. Regardless, Candace isn't one of them. So Ian Carroll covers this whole documentary, the BB Files, which I will remind you, I haven't seen it. But the thesis of what Ian Carroll was talking about, and the thesis of this documentary, is partially that Netanyahu might be a pretty corrupt guy, and that he's having a pretty serious investigation into him. It's well documented. I wish I could reference the thing, but anyway, that he was like, he's promotes Hamas. He wants Hamas in power so that he doesn't have to negotiate with them, because you can't negotiate with terrorists. So he doesn't have to give in to this two-state solution that they fucking refuse to acknowledge. And so there's this speculation that Bibi is very corrupt, and his advocacy for some of these wars is a smokescreen. The corruption, the things that I was into. You see this terrorists over here? They got nuclear bombs, folks. Nuclear bombs. We can't have that. Take of that what you will. I'm not asserting it because I don't fucking know, and I'm not trying to pretend that I do. But if you're curious, there's a documentary out there called the BB Files, and I might take a look eventually. But the thing is too, right? Like, and I find myself as floored by this as anyone, that I find myself agreeing with the left. It's a very uncomfortable position for me of late, and I don't like it. And I think a lot of times they're right for the wrong reasons, right? I think when it comes to Palestine, Israel, the left just sees brown people and white people, and they know whose side they're on, like instinctually, right? Oh, well, I know what's what. Like, they didn't need to look into it. They didn't need to assess anything. They didn't need to know the history. They didn't know nothing. They knew whose side they were on. And so it turned out they were right, but for the wrong reasons. So when a lot of this stuff comes out, you're just sort of like, all right, well, I know how the left discusses things. They lie plenty. I've seen it about, people that I know well, you know what I mean? Or at least know their work extremely well, heard them lie bold-faced about it. So it's not that. So if I find it's a strange bedfellows kind of thing. And it's like, I know how they operate. So I'm not just like, oh, well, if they say it, they must be telling the truth. No. So I'm hesitant to find myself, like on their side and promoting what they would believe. So don't take my word for it on this thing. Don't even take Aaron Carroll's word for it. If I were you, I would watch the documentary yourself and see if there's any kind of validity to this, because if there is, that kind of adds up, sort of makes a lot more sense. All this fucking war that is wildly unpopular, and it's different now, right? Like, for my entire life, when it came to Israel and Palestine, I didn't know shit. I didn't know anything about it. I don't know what I heard. I guess it just seemed like this whole thing, this whole mess that had been going on forever. Yeah, for by ever you mean 1912. I wouldn't say fucking forever. It's not an ancient problem. There was not the problem of suddenly tens of thousands of millions of European Jews suddenly there. It wasn't an ancient problem. But regardless, it's how it was advertised to me. So I was just like, I don't know, who gives a shit. Like it's like I'm not on either one of your sides. You dumbasses figure it out. I guess I had to pick one. I'd pick Israel. I don't know. Like that's about my understanding, and we pretty much only got one side to the story. Well, now it's a little different. Now we get a whole lot more of information, and you get video. And for some goddamn reason, this is why I talk with my buddy Mike about all the time. Why does Hamas even bother with fake propaganda? Like, I've seen so many Hamas videos. I'm like, is that supposed to convince me that Hamas is lying? Because that is the worst propaganda I've ever seen. I saw a video of a woman holding a clean child skeleton. I was like, did the IDF dip him in acid? Why is there nothing on this kid's? It was just the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. Then I saw another video where there was like rubble and there was like a girl like laying on it. And this guy's like, oh, come. And you see her, she clearly was just placed there to lay and then pretend that she was, you're like, why not just film the real shit? Why make it up? Like that just throws a question mark into the whole thing for me. I'm like, why even bother? You have so much actual evidence. It's like whenever the left tries to like criticize Trump, it's like you don't need to make shit up. Like there's plenty of wild shit he says and does anyway. Like, why don't you just criticize that? Why do you lie and make up shit? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, right. So the difference is now I don't get like, the fucking Mark Levin's version of what's going on in the Middle East. I don't get, Hannity's, or I don't get one side's. I get a lot more information. And you get guys who are like, authentically pedigree America First guys like Tucker Carlson, right? Like having big problems with this and talking about it from an intelligent way. And then all of a sudden now you've got, much more prominent voices criticizing it. You can see images and you're like, that city looks fucking leveled. Were those all terrorists? How could that be? There's a lot of them. I think you might be conflating terrorists with Palestinian. It's just my opinion. But you do get a much deeper, richer perspective on this whole thing. So you'd almost feel like, hey, this shit's pretty unpopular. It's a pretty unpopular war. You don't really have a lot of support. Even like boomers, like my parents, are just kind of like, Jesus. People who got like the whole the fucking hard narrative about Israel and all that, and no nuance. They're like, it's kind of a lot of bombing, don't you feel? And most people are like, yeah, it kind of is. So why do you keep doing it? It's like wildly unpopular. Maybe you should fucking chill. And then, you see something that happens like, listen, I've just found a new fascination and it's global politics. Okay, sentient dildo? Conflating terrorists with Palestinian, they're all Hamas. I think that's a convenient way to look at it. I think if you look at it like that, you don't have to have any kind of moral gray about it. You don't have to acknowledge that the vast majority of that city is children. You don't have to consider that because they're all Hamas. It's like stuff like that where you're like, all right. I mean, I want to believe that. I want to, like, I heard Dave Smith in an interview, I think with Tucker, and he said this exact thing. And I was like, God damn it, that's exactly how I feel. He goes, I want to be a cranky right winger. I was like, so do I. But I know I there's too much evidence to contradict that. There's too much information for me to look at that and be like, no, that's totally fine. Continue on. Please, by all means, level a city. You know what I mean? Like killing 1 million Iraqis was totally fucking cool. Let's try it again, guys. Let's do it again. I don't have that perspective. I don't have that worldview. I wish I could. It'd be fucking easier. Be a lot more simple. But my question is, or my point is, kind of lends some credibility as to why they're running two extremely unpopular war conflicts right now. If it's all a smokescreen for corruption, you're like, that tracks. Going back to my bullshit indicator, that doesn't sound like total bullshit. I don't know. We all should do more research on it, but sounds about real to me. All right. I'll drop the global politics. Talked about it for an hour. I said you need to call Matt Sachs is getting out of control. No, dude. No, it's not. It's very much in control. I do try to chill. I mean, every once in a while, like I was listening to like some like Shane's universe, like Shane Gillis's universe, and he's got these kind of like other dudes around him, like Nate Marshall and Lemaire Lee and Sean Gardini. And I was listening to like some of their podcasts. Like I do get upset about all this stuff to a point that isn't healthy. It does make me like a less happy person at times. And I'm trying to balance that. I don't want it to be something that like truly upsets me and, affects my life, especially because it's not the type of thing I have any control over really, except to come here and talk about it with you 15 fine people. But I feel like that's probably not moving the needle too much. But it's some of this shit I just have to get off my chest. Some of it I got to tell fucking somebody or I'll just bug everyone I know about it. But I gotta say it. But anyway, all right. This is political, but it's not global politics. So, it's something that. Okay, so I came back from Hawaii yesterday, right? It was an unbelievably long flight. It's 6 hours from Honolulu to Phoenix, 3-hour layover, and then another 3 hours to Austin and a whole bunch of other bullshit. It was a long fucking day. And we left at 9:30 at night in Honolulu. I got back here at 2:30 in the afternoon. I was exhausted. Just needed to chill. So I did. Chilled pretty hard. Played some video games. Been scouring every single corner of Expedition 33 because I'm not ready to give it up yet. Such a good game. And then chilled. And I was going to watch a TV show. And there's this new TV show on Apple Plus. And I go to check it out. Real quick, I just want to address this comment. Lindsay, the cynical geek. Hi, Lindsay. I've seen the U.S. involved in regime change for the past 20 years, and we've not had one that was successful, which is why I'm skeptical that this shit is happening in the Middle East. Preach it, sister. And I'll do you one further. We've been doing it for the whole 20th fucking century. We did it in Korea. We did it in Vietnam. How'd those work out? Not fucking great. Not fucking great. Korea, you could argue, is the most successful one because at least South Korea remained democratic and is to this day an ally. We sure as fuck didn't chase the communists out of that country. And North Korea is one of the, biggest dictator despots on the planet. So that didn't work out great. That's been our entire foreign policy since the 20th century. The liberal world order. I mean, and it ain't working. And every time we try it, we just step on our dick and get more Americans killed and spend so much money and slaughter whatever population happens to be there. And we don't get the results we want. And yet we keep going. So I'm with you. The 20th century the 21st century is far more relevant, and it's in the same region, and it's the same goddamn plan. And it doesn't work. So I'm with you. I fucking hate communists, and even I recognize how disastrous Vietnam was. I hate communists too. I don't want them in power, and I think we're right to be fearful of them, but it doesn't mean we fucking start goddamn wars constantly. Listless. I totally agree about the regime change. It doesn't work. It has to be the locals on their own. Whatever. Just do what you guys are going to do. Leave me the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the best. That's why I believed in Trump. Trump's the art of the deal guy. We'll make deals. We'll make beneficial deals that are beneficial for both sides. And we don't need to go to war over it. That's why I believed in him. So let's see if my belief was well-founded. It looked like it's over. I don't fucking know. I hope and pray to God it's over. Anyway, off global politics, swear to God. So I go to sit down and I need to relax, right? I'm like, I don't know what I want to watch. I'm browsing, flipping through things. I see this new show on Apple TV Plus, whatever it's called. And it looks like a cute little kind of Ted Lasso adjacent sort of sports comedy with Owen Wilson. It's called Stick. And I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And it starts over. Actually, Senchen Dildo, funny enough, when Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize, I was like, huh? Because I was supporting him and I was like, he really hasn't done anything yet. Like, I think that was in his first 2 years. And it was like he hadn't accomplished any of his anti-war goals. Like, how could he possibly have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize? Like, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan were both still going. Guantanamo was still open. I was like, that's weird. Like, I wasn't like on the other side of it, but when it happened, I was like, that is fucking weird. Anyway, so I go to sit down to watch this show Stick, and I start watching it. It's a golf show with Owen Wilson, and he's this kind of washed up, drunk loser of a former golf pro. And I'm watching, and I'm like, I've kind of seen this already. We've kind of been down this road. And, he's a drunk and he's like a degenerate gambler and all these things. And you're kind of like, we've seen all this before. And the dialogue wasn't particularly excellent. And like, it was just kind of, and I was unsure. But by the end of the first episode, I was like, okay. And then I found myself into it. I was like, all right, cool. This is fun. I like it. It's low stakes, but it's like I'm invested. It's got pretty decent story structure. It's like we kind of see it's all not great, but it's not bad either. It's like, okay, this is completely acceptable entertainment. And I'm watching it, and then all of a sudden something changed. So it's introduced, I guess this is like episode 3 or 4. And the whole concept is Owen Wilson is a washed up golf pro, right? Total loser. He's drunk. He just sells golf clubs and he needs like an advance on his pay. And he's like nobody's got nothing else going on in his life, right? So his wife or his ex-wife now gives him an ultimatum because he's been basically squatting in their house that she's going to sell so she can move on with her life. And, he's got to go. And he's just like, all right, fuck, like, I don't want to, I don't agree to that, blah, blah, blah. Ends up finding this kid who's got a spectacular swing. He's just a great golfer. And light goes off in his head and he wants to coach this kid. Basically. He's like, he sees another opportunity to kind of redeem himself and, give, and do something with the game of golf with this kid. You're like, okay, cool. We've all seen this. This is not novel, but it's fun. It's a decent concept to entertain you. And you're like, okay, cool. So eventually he convinces the mother of the kid, because he's like a high school kid, to let them, they could all go on the road together and play golf and do these like different he's not at a rally, he's chilling on the couch, do these different tournaments and get him to qualify, and he can potentially be an excellent pro is the whole concept, right? And so they do this, some hiccups along the road, but whatever, they're on the road. And then all of a sudden, while they go to their first tournament, the mother of the kid goes to the bar, and at the bar is this girl who's like this bartender. And then we look over and we see a bunch of golf pros. And guess what, guys? These golf pros are misogynists. They're arrogant, white men who I obviously hate. And they're drunk and they're making sexist jokes loudly. And so this waitress and the woman they're, going back and forth about what, pieces of shit these guys are. And the waitress bartender has a confrontation with one of these guys who tells her like a sexist joke, and then she dumps a beer on him, and then she gets fired. She's like, you're siding with him, I quit. And she's this obnoxious, total social justice woke insert out of nowhere into the middle of this show. So then you kind of feel like that's it. Well, guess what? It ain't it. It ain't it. The kid Santi and Owen Wilson have like an argument, and then the kid goes off and he's sulking because he's like a petulant child. Like they're not making him into a very sympathetic guy. And this girl who goes by she, them pronouns. I'm not kidding. In 2025, they're doing this. She, this is the problem with capitalists like your coach and this other guy. And she's eventually the one who convinces him to get back out on the golf course and finish the back nine. And he does great. Right. So, that, and then it kind of becomes like his girlfriend, but I don't even know if she's like transgender or what is she? She's one of these things. And so, Owen Wilson still has this gap with the kid, and he keeps trying to bridge it. And then he realizes that, this girl that he's now hanging out with has like his ear. So instead of him coaching him directly, he now asks this girl, this fucking obnoxious, like social justice, pulpit speaking, conducting sermons of progressivism in the middle of this fucking show about golf. Now she's going to come on the road and help coach this fucking kid. And God damn it, woke ruined another fucking show. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, what? You're still doing it? You're still doing woke shit? I couldn't I was blown away by that being like a central character in the show. It wasn't like one scene. If it was one scene, it would be like, all right, that's irritating. I can move on it. But I will say it's pretty fucking stupid for you to make a show about golf and then insult golfers as like a bunch of, arrogant, misogynistic dudes. You're like, well, good luck getting the golf community to promote your fucking show, you dumbasses. They still talk about Caddyshack. But But it was like, you're like, okay. And so then it's like, then they're like, all right, this obnoxious character. No. Now she needs to be like, she's a central part of the show. And the whole thing, which was like actually a pretty compelling dynamic between Owen Wilson's character, because you find out he lost a son to cancer. And that's why he had a meltdown to begin with. And that's why he's a washed up golfer now, because he never really got over it. And you're like, that's really compelling storytelling. Like, I would love to see that guy on his redemption arc, and this whole kind of like father-son dynamic between the coach, because Santi's father's not in the picture and he lost his son. And it's kind of like they can bond over that. Well, now that's gone. Now it's this fucking social justice chick. She's the real buffer the kid needed. She's the one who's really going to help him on his fucking golf game. God fucking damn it. I couldn't believe it. And I found myself really interested in that fucking show. And here we are again. June 2025. We fucking gender pronouns and girl bossing and, stupid capitalist white men. I couldn't fucking believe it. Like it was 2017. God. That's like, and I was thinking about it, right? And I was thinking about like, why are you upset? Because I was really upset. And you want to know why? Because I was fucking liking that show. Because I was like, I'm invested. This is a good, finally, something new, something different I can watch. How interesting. And then you fucking ruin it. And now I gotta deal with this lecture again. And I gotta deal with all that stuff again. And it's like, son of a bitch. I still can't believe they're still doing woke shit in 2025. Blew my mind. Because, a lot of us have kind of been like, ooh, we won. We fucking crushed the culture war. We were correct. They were wrong. They're going to get in line. I guess fucking not. Senja Dillo, is the show making fun of her? A little, but not really. Like, it's the Gen Z or whatever, Gen Alpha kid, they're kind of shown as the ones who are like kind of savvy, and these like old guys who don't get it are kind of like the out of touch, and she's like the voice of reason. Now, I don't think they're making fun of her. I only watched the 2 episodes that she was in. It's a weekly release. I don't know if it's out yet, but from what I saw, no, He invites her to come on the road. No, it wasn't. He invites her to come on the road because she's the one who can get through to Santi. He can't get through to Santi, but she can. I don't think it's satire. I don't think it's a joke. I don't think they're making fun of her. Hold on. Let me see what you guys. Hello, Mads. Mad Mardigan. What's up, player? How you doing? Skirt. What's Gucci my ninjas? I'm liking Stick more than I initially thought. Oh, okay. So you're watching, you know what you're talking about? Okay. Worth checking out, and people definitely need to watch Murderbot. All right. I was thinking about checking Murderbot out too. Okay, Matt, is it that implausible to meet a super woke chick in this world? The reason it's not an issue for me is how everyone reacts to her. These people exist. She isn't coaching. She is his caddy. Yes, she's essentially because the kid likes her and it's all justified why they make her the caddy. No, she's just a vessel for what they do because of the way his father treated him. Matt is wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. Because to me, it came out of nowhere. It was completely unnecessary to insert it. Like she's if she wasn't there, the show would continue on. Like the whole thing takes a complete left turn. And Santi becomes like this petulant child acting like his whole thing is he's just purely invested in him for himself to recapture his former glory. And not only does the show establish that is not the case, that he can get things out of this, he can get purpose out of it, but he believes in this kid. Like there was like a really, I thought, well-written scene where he proves to his ex-wife that, and he convinces him and talks to him and like encourages him to like do it, like to really take this opportunity because you only get this small opportunity and then it goes and you're going to regret it. And he's like, I know what it's like to lose it. You've got something special. And he really inspires this kid. And you're like, oh, this is cool. And then like halfway through, and there was a reason for it in the show. But halfway through, Santi starts acting like a petulant child, like he's just like, just invested in this for himself. It's like he invested every single penny he had to his name in this fucking kid. He's got nothing else. And he gave it to like the mother who kind of had like an unreasonable demand. And he did it because he believes so much. So I don't see it as like, oh, this is like necessary. I see it as a complete, like, we got to have the girl be the one who can like help him and coach him. And I think she's going to be an obnoxious, lectury, fucking gender fluid bullshit for the rest of the show. I hope I'm wrong, but it already irritated the hell out of me, Mad. And I'm surprised to hear this from you, to be honest. No, because the kid and the coach are having serious issues with her. It allows the coach to still guide him through the chick. It gives the coach time to build a bond until the kid can trust. That is a very generous interpretation of what happened. That's not what I saw. She's not coaching him, but she is like inspiring him. She is like the bridge between the two people. And the kid's acting like a bitch about it. Like he's selfish. He's not. And the girl is backing that up too. And then all that fucking little banter with like I have pepper spray, just like, that to me just all screams like social justice-y woke girl boss bullshit. I'm really surprised to hear this is your take there, Mad. I'd love to be wrong on this one, but I'm already irritated to the point where it's like, I don't even want to go back and finish it. I don't even want to go back and like dredge myself through it. What are you talking about, OG? It's literally called The Expanse, blah, blah, something. It's set in season 2. What are you talking about? A cool looking Expanse video game coming out? What? That's news to me. Let's look into this. I didn't know this. It's not the Telltale one that already existed, right? The Expanse Osiris Reborn. Whoa. What? Listless. Get the fuck out of here. This is good news. This is good fucking news. Mad, keep watching. She's changing everyone else. All right. I'll keep watching. I will keep watching. Low Spec. Hi and goodbye. Go to your stream, brother. Good to see you. You saved the stream. Well, definitely. Look, I'm a more pleasant person when I like things. Don't get me wrong. I'm far easier to be around when I'm praising shit. I get it. I understand. It doesn't make me any less fucking mad about the bullshit. It makes me furious. Let me see here. I got this. Looks like gameplay footage. What have we here? Might get copyright claimed on this, but whatever.
Most exciting game announcements for a very, very long time. I'm a huge fan of The Expanse, and we're finally getting what looks to be a deep and complex RPG, an action
What?
RPG.
It's an RPG?
Now, the official trailer for this just dropped. We don't have a release date just yet, but what we do have is quite a bit of cinematic footage, as well as some gameplay footage as well, that you can see right here.
Whoa, let's go. No way. Yeah. Okie dokie. This is exciting news.
So the new game is called The Expanse, Osiris Reborn, and I was very fortunate to get an early look at this trailer so I could bring this video to you as soon as possible, and all thanks to developer Owlcat Games. Now, you may recognize their other RPGs such as Pathfinder Kingmaker, as well as Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader.
Wow.
And just so you
That's pretty good pedigree. Those are some pretty good names to be associated with. RPG, low spec. Yes. Ascension Dildo likes. Matt, you need to stream this and fuck off with the politics crap. All right. I mean, I appreciate the feedback. I'll take it constructively. It's hard for me to not talk about that stuff, dude. It fucking burns inside me, man. I gotta talk about it. Gotta get some of it off my chest. I'll try to talk about it less, but I gotta talk about it, brother. Gotta talk about it. But yeah, I mean, who knows when this is gonna come out? It doesn't have any release date yet. It might not be for another 2 years.
You know, this video is sponsored by Owlcat, so my thanks to them for that. Out there, many of you watching this video are going to be making some comparisons to the Mass Effect series, and
yeah,
well, that's not a bad thing by any means. That is an absolutely
this is
amazing
sick.
franchise about to go to locations like Ganymede, Ceres, Mars, as well as Luna. Details on the whole game are still.
Let's go. This is all. None of this is gameplay though. These are all like rendered cutscenes kind of thing. Yeah, right? Play the shit out of this. Let's go. Cedric Diddle, no, you got to let it go. It ain't doing you any good. Just getting mad over shit you can't do shit about. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I don't know, man. It's like I can't not care. I'm going to undo the past 5 years of investigating this stuff and not care. I appreciate the feedback, man, but I don't know. Let's see. All right, let me find the trailer. The trailer is supposed to be the good thing. Okay. I'll watch the trailer. Watch the whole trailer. Announcement trailer. These are all just videos about the trailer. I want the actual trailer. These are all just people talking about it. Is this it? Okay, this is the trailer. All right. It's 4 minutes long. God damn. That's long.
I remember. You remember? Oh, yeah, I remember Ganymede. You remember? I remember Ganymede. Remember the Rocinante? Oh, yeah, I remember the Rocinante.
All right, let's see here. Forget Gemini, my birth sign.
Zafar, pull up NavTech.
Just a sec. Got it.
Let's go.
Taki. We're gonna find out about your Kopang right quick, okay?
Ooh.
Just want to do him justice. Stuck his neck out for us. Least we can do is get him out alive. We've got big enough guns to make justice, all right?
All right. First of all, my first thoughts are awesome that there were belters, right? Very, very cool. Awesome that and it looks expensive. Like that looks like that cost a fucking fortune to make. and attractive female characters. It's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Oh, Michael. To a man with a hammer, just about everything looks like a nail.
Aim for show. Time to say, oh yeah, with our hammer.
Missile range in 1.
Listless, do you know are James S.A. Corey involved? Have they had anything to do with the writing? I'm curious.
Brace yourself. We're going for a spin.
Dude. You know, it's kind of funny, Sensadodo, that you say that about the politics and all that. Literally, like last night, I was like, man, I wish I could just I wish The Expanse was just existed still. I wish I could just like watch The Expanse and talk about it. But it doesn't exist anymore. And well, fuck, maybe it does. Cool. So cool.
Zafar, did you get a signal?
After the large haul down this corridor, they shut down this part of the facility. Long time.
It looks amazing. Don't get me wrong. This is sick. What kind of gameplay are we talking? Are we talking first-person shooter? Are we talking like first-person RPG shooter like Deus Ex or Mass Effect? Are we talking turn-based? Or like what kind of game is this going to be? I just want to know. Not that I think I'll play it no matter what it is, but I want to know. Dude, this is awesome news. Third-person shooter like Mass Effect. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Dude, this is the best news ever. Hell yeah.
Before our arrival. Fine. Let's deal with those guys first.
Bro, let's go. Oh, that's so sick. That's so sick.
And you load up.
That's
Never
awesome.
look up. Zafar, you were right. They shut down this.
Dude, come on.
Follow that. I need backup.
I will say the voice actress doesn't quite have a handle on the Belter Creole. So I think she's just sort of reading the lines, but she doesn't have that, you know, fucking Kara G command over the Belter dialect.
Hold on, I'm coming! I'll cover you.
Oh, sick, dude. Oh, cool. Oh, come on, let's go. All right, I'm guessing there's going to be classes. There's going to be like soldier classes and like heavies, probably what that shield's going to be. Going to have like engineers. Oh, buddy, let's go. Let's go. Oh, come on now.
Thanks.
Come on.
I can't see shit from here.
The bird up high shall be thine eyes. What the hell happened here? Hey, buddy.
Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What? Yeah. Oh. Let's fucking go. Oh my god.
Glad you're still breathing.
Guys, everything's gonna be okay. There's no reason to worry. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Holy shit. Yes. What? Oh my God. I am going to play the fuck out of that. We are back. Hell yeah, dude. Oh my God. Best fucking news ever. So it's like season 2? I guess. I don't know. Could be season 1. Yeah. That could have been Phoebe we just saw. No, probably not Phoebe. Because that's different. But I don't know. Whoa. Oh, fuck yes, dude. Wow. How did I not hear about this? When did that come out? When was that trailer dropped? Like 2 weeks ago? I'm just learning about this now? Holy shit. Wow. That is the best. Yeah, that's 2 weeks that came out. I'm just finding out about this now. Wow. That is amazing. Well, it also is on PS5. Now, Ascension Ditto is saying stream it, which is a good idea. Oh my God. Could be they blew up Phoebe before Mars blew it up. Could be, yeah. It could be the operation that when they went to collect it, the sample for the first time. But probably not. It seems adjacent. Because I feel like we would have seen Julie Mao. Huh. I'm an idiot. I just realized for the first time ever, Jules and Julie Mao. He like named his daughter kind of after him. I don't know how I never put that together until this second. But wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is the best news ever, Listless. Thank you so much. Holy shit, I can't believe I just learned about that. Wow. Awesome. I'm stoked. No release date, though. Oh, it ain't going to be this year, probably. Maybe next. Looks like they got a lot done. Dude, what great news. What great news. The stream, my fucking soul is cleansed. That just made me feel incredible. Oh, my God. I need that now. That is the best news ever. Wow. I am going to scour the internet for information on this now. That is so sick. And a perfect universe for a game like that. That works. An RPG, so I guess like Mass Effect RPG. They throw that term RPG around kind of loosely, though. Everything's an RPG now. And it's like, what kind of RPG, right? Like, you'd say, people would say like Deus Ex is like an RPG. And you're like, I think immersive sim is a more accurate title because you can't really role play. You are the character making the decisions you make. There's no like role play to me. Normally insinuates you can affect the story, but it might be you can just handle each situation tactically different, or maybe you play a different class and you can level up your class and the way you play. Like it looked like with that shield, what that indicated to me was like a heavy, and it's just kind of like maybe you've got like a shotgun, but you're like a tank and you can absorb. Wow. Inclusive RPGism. Yes, indeedy. Shit, dude. Damn. Fascinating. Best news ever, Listless. Thank you so much. God, that makes me feel so happy, so positive, so optimistic. Let's go. Let's fucking go. All right. Well, I'm ending it on that note. That was absolute high note. We're not going to war, and there's a new Expanse video game. Woohoo! That's best news ever. Best news ever. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode of the MFer podcast. I appreciate you guys, bearing with me and my inconsistency here. I'm trying. Now, Sencha Dildo wants me to drop the politics. We'll see. I don't know what else to talk about, really.
Hey guys, it's really sunshine out. You see the weather? Oh boy, it's a beautiful summer.
Kind of hard to not pay attention to that shit right now, dude. Kind of everything. But you might be right. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But you guys have a great day. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in a week or so. Ta-ta!
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!